I'm Marlene Hutchinson, and welcome to Tips for Guitar Playing Success. As many of you know, I've been sharing my guitar playing tips every Thursday for more than 8 years. It's been my way to hopefully help you stay motivated, be inspired, and continue expanding your guitar playing journey. If you're interested in more learning resources like my Thursday Tips blog, my DVDs, books, virtual learning, and more, go to my website, marlenesmusic.com. And for anyone who's listening and feels like you're missing out on all the fun, you can easily join our wonderful world of guitar with my Learn to Play Guitar in a Day program, which you can also find at marlenesmusic.com. Now on to today's tip. Today's tip is 5 ways to play the F chord. As you've probably discovered in your guitar playing journey, there are some chords that are easier and some chords that are more difficult. And of course, that can vary from person to person. Like for one person, the D might be more challenging, and for another, the C might be harder. However, for most people, the F chord falls in the more difficult category, especially when you're fairly new to playing guitar. So if you find the F chord is challenging, then congratulations, you're completely normal. I have a game plan though. I'd like to help you learn to successfully play the F chord. I'll share different ways to finger the chord and hints about getting a good sound. Then you can think of F as your friend. I'm going to be describing the finger positions, but if you'd like to see the chord chart for these 5 chords, then you can find the diagrams on my website, marlenesmusic.com/Thursday tips. Or if you're already on my website, go to Learn in the navigation bar, scroll down to Thursday tips, and you'll see the chord charts in the 5 ways to play the F chord tip. The first shape that I'll describe is the way that I teach people to play F. To me, it seems to be the easiest way, but I'll let you be the judge of that. You'll start by placing the flat part of your first finger. Yes, for this, I'm saying use the flat of your finger for the chord. But it needs to be flat, your first finger, because you'll be covering strings 1 and 2 in the first fret. But your next 2 fingers will be up on the fingertips, and that's usually where people find it to be challenging, because when going on the tips with the other 2 fingers, the tendons and muscles naturally pull up a bit on that flat first finger. It's helpful to focus on keeping that first finger as flat as possible on both strings 1 and 2. Also, it's helpful if you place your first finger right up against the first fret bar, so you'll have something for your finger to sort of cling to or use as leverage. After getting that first finger set, then place your second finger on string 3 and your third finger on string 4, and those are in the second and third frets. And it should sound like this. To see how you're doing, mainly to see how well your fingers are able to press on each of those strings, especially that first finger, play each string that you're pressing on individually, like this. I'm pressing hard on all 4 strings, but of course, I've played this chord a few times. Now, here I'm playing it again, but my first finger is not fully down on string 1. Can you hear how string 1 is muted? Not a clean, clear sound? Of course, that means I need to adjust my first finger to get a better sound so that it sounds like it needs to, which is this. By checking each string, you'll be able to figure out where you need to make an adjustment. It might be one of the fingertip fingers, but it's usually that first finger. Let's take a look at some other ways to finger the F chord. This next one is similar to the first one, except you won't play strings 6, 5, or 1. To play this chord, you place your finger 1 on string 2 in the first fret, finger 2 on the 3rd string in the 2nd fret, and finger 3 on the 4th string in the 3rd fret. Now you'll only be strumming strings 4, 3, and 2, and that's super important. So be sure you're aware of where you're strumming. And it should sound like this. By the way, just a quick reminder, you can now join my new podcast Patrons program, and when you become a member, you'll not only be helping to support the continuation of this show, but as a thank you, you'll receive some exclusive member-only rewards, like early access to my Guitar Friends interviews, participation in my private patron group on Facebook, coaching sessions, and more. You can get all of the info on my website. Just go to marlenesmusic.com/podcast to join today. Thank you. I appreciate your support. These next 3 ways of playing the F chord are bar chords, basically where your first finger acts like a capo. And if you don't know much about bar chords, don't fret. I'll talk about bar chords in more detail in a future episode. When you're first starting out, I find that it's best to play the F chord the first way that I described. As you get more guitar playing experience, you'll definitely want to add these bar chords into your chord repertoire. The first example is a bar chord in the 1st fret with the E chord shape, and it should sound like this. Then there's one barring the 5th fret with the C shape, which sounds like this. And the third is barring the 8th fret with an A chord shape, and it should sound like this. Whichever chord shape you choose to try, just know that it can be challenging and may even be a little frustrating at first. But the more you gain strength and dexterity in your hands and fingers, aka the more you play this chord, the sooner you'll be able to get a good solid sound. Also, once you're feeling like you can play the F chord even moderately well, you should begin to play it in sequence with other chords like C, F, and G, so that you can get acquainted with moving in and out of the F chord. This can set you up to incorporate the F chord into your songs. You see, F really can be your friend. I hope this episode's tip has helped you to continue expanding your guitar skills and knowledge. If you'd like to learn more, check out the many learning resources available at my website, marlenesmusic.com. Thank you for joining today's podcast, and as I like to say, play on.